All right, indeed. A very, very good morning to you. Thank you so much for joining us at this edition of The Tackle. It is the 20th of July, 2022, tarehe 20 mwezi wa 7 mwaka 2022. I hope you're doing well. Uko salama, umeanza siku yako vizuri, and you're ready to have a conversation with us on the Siasa Wednesday edition of the 20th of July, 2022. It's another morning. It's a chilly morning in Nairobi. I hope you're doing well. When you join in, kama kawaida, please like. When you like, we get to know that you're watching us, and after like, please share. When you share, you give someone else an opportunity to watch the broadcast. Yesterday, we had the running mate debate is running on TV yesterday. There has been a lot of conversation around it, and you'd like to look at it this morning, and I've given you Wanjiku an opportunity to analyze it and tell us what you think about it. Lakini kama kawaida tuende haraka upesi mbele za Mungu tuombe. Digurudi tunakuja kuona nani ameweza kuingia mapema. Link imewekwa pale. The link is on my profile, has been posted, so you can join in. I'm seeing a number of guys have joined in already. So anytime I give you an opportunity, I'll only give you under 1 minute. Under 1 minute. So ukiingia tafadhali sema mambo yako haraka upesi alafu unasonga. Meanwhile, wacha nione nani kina ameweza, alafu ndakuja kuona pia nani ameweza kuamka. Mighty Father, we come before you this morning. We worship you, glorify your name. Thank you for another opportunity to be alive. We thank you for this conversation. We thank you for this day and morning. As we start off, may this conversation edify the fabric of this country. For you pray, trusting and believing. Amen and amen. All right, I'll go straight to the panel that is joining us online this morning. Before as we're waiting for our guests as well. John Walita says, good morning to you. Langat Geoffrey, good morning from Kisumu. Arab Choge, good morning. Andrew Mutegi, good morning. Watching live from Meru, Ngobo. Watu wa Ngobo, mambo vipi? Aya, haraka upesi, I'll be getting in. I'll start with those guys who had come in earlier. I think who was in earlier. But anyway, as I call out your name, I'll give you under a minute so that you can contribute very quickly. Bethwell Ogutu, good morning. Bethwell Ogutu, good morning. Haya, Betolo kutu kama amelala chezi na rara. Kipkalia Kevin, good morning. All right, kuski. Steve, cannot hear these guys. Uko muted, eh? You're muted, Kipkalia. Please unmute yourself.
Good morning, Bwana Bitok.
Good morning to you. How are you doing?
I'm fine, thank you, sir.
Mambo vipi?
Hii debate nataka kuongelea hii debate ya jana.
Haya, ingia haraka upesi. Sema maneno.
Hii Ruth Wamae na Ruth Mutheu na Justina Wamae, hiyo ilienda salama.
Okay.
Hata ingawa Ruth aliingia kama panelist, pia alianza kuuliza mwenzake maswali hapo. Na huyu Wamae pia ni mtu amekomaa kisiasa na alikuwa anaelewa kitu, anaelezea vizuri kabisa.
Okay.
Upande wa Rikadhi na hiyo ilikuwa ya dapi bwana. Hiyo ilikuwa ya dapi kabisa. Venye we were expecting Gachagua ashindwe, lakini venye alikuja it was against the expectance of the expects of many. And now what I got from Gachagua na hii serikali ya Kenya Kwanza, if they win, naona ni kama kutakuwa na witch and side ya familia ya Kenyatta. Mjamaa alikuwa mpaka na mwa Kenya bwana. Alikuwa amejipanga vizuri, so alideliver more than the expectations from the Kenya Kwanza side and the Azimio.
Okay.
Thank you so much. Have a very good day.
Aya, asante. Aya, Ababa Hagwach. Good morning. Ababa, good morning. Okay, I think you're not ready, so I'll go quickly to Gilbert. Gilbert, good morning. Hiya, kama yuko tayari. Colin Musyoka, please unmute yourself and speak straight away. Colin Musyoka. Good morning.
Good morning, Gerald.
Mambo vipi?
Salama sana. How is your morning?
Si mbaya baba. Nairobi tu baridi kidogo.
So, I'm in Nandi. My view about the deputy presidential debate, pitting Justin Wamae, Ruth Mutua, Rigathi Gachagua, and Martha Karua. Honestly, I underestimated Rigathi Gachagua. But, he stood on his ground, answering questions.
Okay.
Justin Wamae, there's something they failed as the panelists, there's something, Wajakoya, the Roots Party, they talked about the manifestos, the selling hyenas parts, snake rearing, bang. And then they talked about disbanding the constitution.
Okay.
Now, the constitution, when you're sworn in, assuming that Wajakoya gets into presidency, you swear in to uphold and protect the constitution.
Okay.
Now, that constitution, anasema atai-disband, that is treason.
Okay.
And the panelists failed to ask that because Justina Wamai was evading questions. But I think Rigathi Gachagua impressed me. He carried the day. And the most important thing is wakimaliza, unaona walisalimiana.
Yes. Mpaka wakaagwa watoto.
Kabisa, I'm really happy because of that. You know, despite of their political differences, despite of their affiliations, they still show that, you know, peace must prevail. And that is what we're praying for, Gerald. Thank you.
Okay. Asante sana. I'll go to, if you are ready, Wilfred. If you are ready, Wilfred, please unmute yourself and speak straight. Wilfred. Wilfred Kibe, kama uko tayari.
Yes, good morning, Gerald.
Good morning to you, sir. How are you doing?
I'm doing well.
Let habari.
I'm speaking from Juja.
Yes.
From the yesterday's debate, I saw Justina Wamai was the best. She was able to discuss about their manifesto. And I think she carried the day. The other debate about Matakaru and the other guy. That was a great test on. They were discussing about someone who is Rigathi Gachagua, corruption scandals. They were not able to come out and discuss to us what they are going to fight the corruption. I think Justina Wamai carried the day. Thank you.
Okay, Justina took the day. All right, Audrey Ngen, if you're ready. Audrey, good morning, if you're ready. Audrey, if you're ready. Good morning to you, Audrey.
Okay. Good morning. How are you?
Fine. How are you doing?
Yes, I'm doing great. My observation on the debate was I actually liked the first round of the debate. I was actually impressed by Justine Wamai. I liked how she advanced to the questions. She was articulate, very brilliant, and at least she made us as Kenyans to think out of the box. I loved just how she was really trying to explain, not basically that people should just think that bang is all about smoking, but it's actually a traverse way that we can get something out of it that can bring more economy to economical space due to these harsh times in our country. And I also like the fact that she gave examples, like our country in Uganda, whereby they say they had to get experts from Israel. So she was actually saying that it is not a must that we legalize bang in cities that people can smoke, but we can use it in purposes that can help revive our industry, revive the economy, and also try to help in terms of health. So it even made me to go into researching to know more about the cannabis that she was saying, that basically they are being used in some specific drugs, or even the hair oil that we women we use. But I felt for the second debate, I felt like the debaters didn't get a chance to ask the Rigathi and Martha Karua on what actually Kenyans can expect from their parties. I felt it was more of non-personal, specifically for personal issues regarding both the two of them. But I can say generally, I was impressed by Rigathi. He pulled a string that most of us didn't expect. And I'm sure the person who coached him that well, I must say that it was nice. But for me, I really loved the first round of the conversation. It was very, very fine, the first debate. I really enjoyed. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, Audrey. Wilberforce Lumumba, if you're ready, very quickly. Wilberforce, come on, tayari. Wilberforce Lumumba, if you're ready, please unmute yourself and speak. If you're ready. All right, if you're not ready, very quickly, you go to Tom Rob. If you're ready, unmute yourself and speak, Tom.
Bichok.
Yes, Wilberforce, come on, tayari. Mama.
Good morning. Good
morning to you, sir. How are you?
Okay, I'm fine, thank you.
Your review.
Okay, my review based on yesterday's debate, sir. The first round of debate was okay. Christian Wamai was articulating her issues very well based on their manifestos. But my main issue was the second debate. the journalists dwell so much on issues of corruption. They didn't give Martha and Rigathi time at least to explain their manifestos. It's like 80% of the time was spent on corruption issues, how maybe Rigathi had maybe
it was a grilling session, more of.
Yeah. But generally, Rigathi did well. Martha, she was so much reserved. It's like she had chickened out based on how Rigathi was responding to issues. And also another pertinent issue that came out from the debate was the role of Uhuru Kenyatta in Azimio. That issue is still popping out, and they need to come out clear and explain to Kenyans what's the role of Uhuru, what is he going to play in Azimio. Okay, those are my 2 observations.
That's all. Thank you so much, Lumumba. Very quickly, Rob, if you're ready, kama uko tayari. Okay, kama Rob ametuacha. So twende kwa Ababa. Ababa, are you ready? If you are ready, please unmute yourself and speak. Ababa. Haya, Ababa kwa ni kama ameingia na akaamua kulala. Bethwel Ogutu, if you are ready, please unmute yourself and speak. Haya, Bethwel Ogutu ni kama yuko na sisi pia. Wilberforce, I think. Wilfred, have you spoken? Wilfred, if you have not spoken, please unmute yourself and speak. Kama hujaongea. Haya, Mudhama, if you're ready, please. Just for Mudhama, if you're ready, please unmute yourself and speak very quickly. Mambo, mbio. Good morning. Good morning, just for Mudhama, please unmute yourself and speak if you're ready. Haya, kama amekuja hapo kuingia kuchungulia watu wanafanya nini. Na Wilfred, if you're ready, unmute yourself and speak.
Good morning again. I had already spoken.
Oh, you had already spoken. All right, so we're taking in a review of yesterday's running mate debate that we had last night. That is between Rigathi Gachagua, Justin Wamae. Now, watu wote wa Agano, I can't remember all of them. But anyway, we had a running mate debate yesterday. People have spoken differently. Justina has been featured for giving us alternative way of thinking into issues. There's someone who has joined in. Naona ko sauti yake iko on. Ababa, you ready?
Yeah, I'm ready. Good morning.
Good morning to you, sir. How are you?
I'm good.
Leta habari.
I want to focus on the second debate.
Okay.
You see, Mr. Bitok, if you have a student in class and you know how he performs on normal occasions, you will know if he had Mwakenya or not.
Okay.
The handlers of Mr. Gachagua did so well. They gave him the questions, and the guy was ready with the answers. Yeah, thank you.
Okay. Sema Rigathi alikuwa na Mwakenya. Right. What do you think of the performance? Did it also meet your expectations? Because many people are saying we didn't really hear the real issues. And I remember at some point during the debate, Gachagua was asking, at what point are we going to speak about the issues that matters Mwananchi? At what point are we going to have a conversation about the real issues that matters Mwananchi? Gilbert Rono, good morning. Please unmute yourself. Unmute yourself, Gilbert Rono. Unmute yourself.
I've done that. Yes, good morning, Gerald.
Salama sana, mambo?
Poa sana, ni aje man?
Hakuna maneno, leta habari. Wewe niambie habari. What do you think about the debate, yesterday's debate?
Niliangalia hiyo debate ya Rigathi and Martha Karua because those are 2 competing teams ambao wako very serious in this campaign. Huko niko na maone haya bana.
Maono ni gani?
Rigathi carried the day bana.
Okay. How do you say that?
Naweza kuzungumza. I think hata mimi ilikuwa kinyume na matarajio yangu. Expectations zangu siku expect kwamba anaweza kuzungumza sana. Kuliko Martha Karua. The guy is very fluent bana. Ingawa alikuwa na Mwakenya, but very fluent. Yeah.
Okay. So unaona hivyo ndio alifaulu zaidi. Na umesikia Justina, kila mtu anasema Justina alikuwa sawa kabisa.
Justina naye bana hakuwa mbaya vile. Nadhani akikuja Kenya kwanza, we can improve her and in fact tunaweza kumwajiri kwa serikali yetu.
Mtampiga rangi kidogo.
Tutampiga tu rangi kidogo, asifanye ile ya Wachagoya.
Haya, Keith, good morning to you, Keith. Please unmute yourself and speak very quickly. Keith, karibu nafunga hii program ya wananchi in the next 4 minutes. Keith, good morning.
Good morning, Gerald.
How are you doing?
I'm good. How are you doing, Gerald?
Salama mdosi.
Mkwaje huko Nairobi? Huko Nandi tuko wazima kabisa.
Mko chonjo Nandi? Haya. Nandi mliona debate?
Tuliona debate kabisa. Rigathi alifanya ile kitu.
He did the thing.
Yes, he did it.
Okay, what's your review?
My review is generally, Gerald, Rigathi won the conversation, the debate. He always points what the mwananchi always likes to hear. Yes.
Okay, haya. That is it. Okay, aja tusikie. Amos, good morning. Amos, good morning. Amos, please unmute yourself and speak. Amosi. Please unmute yourself. Good morning to you. How are you doing?
I'm doing well.
Lehe, what's your review?
Good morning.
Good morning to you.
Hi.
Hi, Josephat Mutama, how are you doing?
Yes, I'm Josephat Mutama. I'm calling from Kiambu.
Okay, watu wa Kiambu mambo vipi?
Yes, I like the debate and I liked Martha Karua.
You liked Martha Karua?
Yes, there are questions that were asked about the cost of living. I remember Gachagua was talking about state captain Uhuru Kenyatta. And then there's somewhere where I feel also the organizers of the debate, they failed. They never asked who qualifies for Hustler's 50 billion.
Okay.
What will be the threshold? Yes, for you to qualify, because there are many hustlers, there are many people who are poor in this country. How many people qualifies? And then when it comes on the other side of Azimio, who qualifies for 6K? What conditions or what requirements, what method will they use to land at this will universities.
Okay.
Universities needed the facilities or the equipment, because I've heard about National Open University.
Okay.
Are there scarcity of universities in the country? Or are we going to go back to the scenario where we are having even national universities, provincial and the district universities? They were required to question on both sides their manifesto. But I think the organizers failed there. But coming to my judgment, Martha Karua was presidential. She was a smart lady. Yes.
Okay, what about the other ones? What about Gachagua?
Gachagua, I think he needs to be on the street campaigning. He's good at that. But when it comes to presidential look and intelligence, honestly, Martha was on Mercury, Gachagua was planet Pluto.
Okay. All right. The comments. In short, he's saying they were worlds apart. Okay. All right. Okay, it's been a pleasure listening to you, Wananchi. Or what do you think about the debate that happened yesterday? It's always a pleasure to listen to what every other person thinks. And it's interesting because every other person has a thought on what they think, how it was. Wengine wamesema Martha Karua alikuwa tik, wengine wanasema Rigathi Gachagua was the best. But I think the biggest thing that has really come out right now is that most people, or most Kenyans, feel they are not satisfied in the way the conversation was driven. They feel they are not well satisfied in how the conversation was driven, what the real issues were spoken about. Did we speak about the issues that affect Wananchi? Were we keen on the things that really matters to Wanjiku? Were we very serious about the matters that actually key to Mwananchi? That was it. I don't know how you're satisfied, whether you're satisfied, you think the issue that really mattered was spoken about or not. But then we're going to be joined in by a panel of Joy MDIVO. Joy MDIVO is not new here. She's been here before as well. Wakili. Na tuko na FREDRICK Okango. FREDRICK Okango sio mgeni hata kidogo. Amekuwa hapa na sisi. He'll be telling us what he also thought. Who took the day in terms of at the conversation that happened yesterday, and was wananchi satisfied with the conversation, that were the right question asked, were the right questions answered, and what then stands in, especially as we head towards the presidential debate that's coming in, I think, next week. What do we expect? Kutaenda namna gani, and what do we stand to gain or lose in the August general elections on 9th? And I also want to wonder, does it in any way, does the debate in any way affect or inform how you're going to vote on the 9th of August? Does it affect? Are you going to vote in the 9th of August? What's Pokot Ordinance Gachagua focused on Uhuru than the bottom-up model? Okay. Gilgi Boyd, good morning, Nairobi talk. The debate was good, though the media and those guys who organized everything didn't. The questions were so poor. Okay, that's it. Lenas Kimutai from Cherangani, moderators did poorly. Important issues were not discussed, but Gachagua performed more than my expectations. Okay. In Nels Kestney, the first round of debate was it. Basic issues within the manifestos were discussed. Wamai is a seasoned politician, while Mutua is more of a technocrat. In the second round, though, there was decorum. We missed discussion on some essential matters that affect the people. The next debate should be more of issues than the aspirants who want to see them affected when they form government. I salute Gachagua. He was really prepared to deal squarely on the issues, not side shows. Okay. Nick Tarus watching from Eldoret. Asante sana Kiptua Victor. Good morning, Good morning to Karekyo Masi. Tuned in from Hayole. Watu wako yole, mambo vipi. Andre Mutegi. Gachagua took the day. My DP, Joseph Mutai. Joseph, morning live from KCO. Stano Waynes, amen. Good morning to you. Leonard Serem all the way from Australia. Good morning. Good morning to you, my brother Andre Mutegi. Good morning, watching from Merun Kobu. Rapchoge. Logged in, asante sana. Let us know what you think about the debate that happened, the running debate that happened yesterday. But also, where are you watching us from this morning? And have you shared the broadcast? Please, as usual, please join when you join. When you like, we get to know that you're watching us. And that way, please share. When you share, you give someone else an opportunity to watch the broadcast. When you join, please like. When you like, we get to know that you're watching us. And that way, please share. When you share, you give someone else an opportunity to watch the broadcast. This is a tackle, the Siasa Wednesday edition of the 20th of July, 2022. And it begins right now. Let's look at the traffic, the way it's looking like in Nairobi. I don't know how Nairobi is looking like. Let's tuangalie traffic inakaje. Nairobi, I don't know. Let's see how traffic is looking like within the city. Unajua wengi wenu mmefika kazi sasa hivi, but let's just look at how it's looking like. Ngong Road looks all clear. Only a little traffic at the Kenyatta roundabout heading towards Alingam. Total Alingam is a bit jammed up. Heading towards Library, the National Library, looks all clear. Traffic towards from Prestige all the way to the Coptic Hospital looks a bit jammed up. I don't know what's going on around there. I think there's a problem kidogo. Tuangalie Mbagathi Way looks all clear. There's nothing really on Mbagathi Way. Looks all clear. Nothing to worry about. Langata Road as usual, jammed up and crazy all the way from the Langata Hospital pale kwa corner. Langata Hospital looks all crazy. Langata Hospital heading towards the T-Mall junction. All crazy. Naona mmeanza kutengeneza barabara hapo nyuma from Deliverance na kutokea hapo 1824 ama Rubis. Okay. But Langata Road is not looking good at all, and I think it's because of the construction that's going on at the T-Mall around about the flyover there is causing a bit of a traffic jam. But I'm sure watu wa Mombasa Road sasa hivyo mshazoea tayari. Watu wa Langata Road, Mombasa Road looking all clear. Nothing to worry about Mombasa Road. At the interchange the expressway interchange towards Nyayo Stadium looks a bit jammed up. And also roundabout, the Nyayo roundabout looks all clear with the normal little traffic that joins in. Watu wa Utharing Road, mambo vipi? I'm saying the roads are all clear. Nothing to go road, nothing to really worry about on Jogo Road. Some little traffic at Bakadara Health Center, lakini ikai mbaya sana. Donholm today is very clear. Nothing to worry about on Donholm. Thika Road, Thika Road, I'm sure mko na jam kuanzia pale. Traffic coming in from the KCA University as we are towards the CBD at the Muthaiga Exchange as well, a bit jammed up. And also on Kiambu Road from from the DCI headquarters, looks a bit jammed up towards the Muthaiga Exchange. As we're heading towards the CBD, looks all clear, nothing to worry about. Westlands wa Yeki Way as well, mko sawa, mko shwari. Watu wa Yeki Way squeeze tango expressway ifike, sioni shida yote ambayo mko nayo, mambo yenu iko shwari zaidi. Joining in from where? Lavington looks all clear this morning, nothing to worry about on Lavington. And also Kilimani towards Dennis Street doesn't look as bad. Unaka traffic kidogo as you head towards the Total Police petrol station, wapi ya bypass, Kileleshwa bypass, but nothing really to worry about. Ngong Road looks all clear. Kingara Road looks all clear this morning as well. Nothing on the road. I think there's no lorry that are stuck up. But Naivasha Road looks a bit jammed up. Naivasha Road inakaa kama imeshikana kidogo. And also Ngong Road joining towards the junction looks a little bit crazy. Imeshikana kidogo kuanzia wapi? Kuanzia hapo Lexo kidogo. Inakaa kama imeshikana kidogo tu, but nothing to really worry about. Wapi kwingine? Let's look at Kitangaro. Kitangaro looks all clear this morning. Nothing to really worry about. James Gishuru as well looks all clear. Nairobi is looking a bit clear this morning, except Langata Road ambao kuna tabu kidogo, lakini mambo iko shwari. Still want to remind you that at Optiven, we inspire possibilities. At Optiven Kenya Limited, you get an opportunity to own properties at the best rates possible. And here's the good news. You can have your property kwa malipo ya pole. You can put a deposit as low as 10,000 shillings. Unaikaria unasema nataka hii ploti. Then unaanza kulipia pole kwa chini ya miezi 12. For 12 months, you're able to pay your property pole. We have an array of properties for those who have been asking. We have an amazing property pale Nanyuki, the great oasis overlooking the Alpajeta Conservancy. We can wake up every morning and you have a song with the lions. Pale unaangalia elephants. Ameona hyenas that Wajakoya is planning to export. And there's Alpajeta and also overlooks and next to the Mount Kenya Holiday Homes. That is the great oasis by Optiven Kenya Limited. At only 349,000 Kenya shillings, you can get your a quarter of a plot, an eighth of a plot. Napata plot yako at only 349, you can get an eighth of your plot. Pale Malindi, tuko na Malindi Breeze. Malindi Breeze, we're doing phase 2 of the Malindi Breeze. The first one has been sold out within 2 months. Imetuacha. Phase 2 Malindi of the Malindi Breeze is coming up, and we're also giving you an offer of 499 shillings only, 499,000 Kenya shillings only, and you can pay pole. For the diasporans as well, you have the best deal for you. Every dollar counts. So you can start doing your installments this morning. If you're in Nairobi, you want to build in Nairobi, you have beautiful properties in Kitengela. Tuko na Victory Gardens, tuko na Happy Gardens pale along the Namanga Road. Very beautiful properties courtesy of Optiven. You can call them this morning and waambie nimekutuma. Wanaweza kupea discount and also give you flexible terms. Interest free. You can pay installments pole, interest free. Call them 0790-300-300, 0790-300-300. Waambie nimekutuma, alafu mambo yako inakuwa shwari zaidi. Optiven Kenya Limited inspires possibilities. We're looking at settling more and more Kenyans. Tumekuwa pale diaspora Europe. We've been moving through Europe, giving Kenyans an opportunity to own a part of their homeland. I don't know what excuse you have ndio usiweze kununua ploti. Ni shida gani uko nayo ndio usiweze kununua ploti? Haya, gazeti mbio sana. Bei ya unga yakataa kushuka. Hiyo ni Taifa Leo. Bei ya unga yakataa kushuka. Inasemekana kwamba watu wa maduka wamesema hatuwezi shukisha bei ya unga. Yaibuka Munya alikimbia kutangaza bei mpya kabla ya maafikiano na wasagaji wa mahindi. Watu wa masagaji wa mahindi wamesema we are not lowering the prices. Clearly the government has not disbursed the subsidy that was supposed to disburse and make unga 100 shillings. So kuna mtu amesema alienda kwa duka akaambia na niko na 100 nipeko unga. Akaambiwa unga ni 250. Akasema si nimeona kwa televisheni ni 100. Akaambiwa sawa, enda hapo ununue kwa television. Okay. Daily Nation, clash of functions and principles, that is between Martha Karua and Gachagua. On People Daily, Uhuru races to complete legacy work. Okay. Uhuru Kenyatta, in the next, he has only how many days? 2 weeks. Is it 2 weeks? Siku ngapi? Less than 20 days. Lakini amesema he has to finish. Lazima malize legacy, preparing for change. President rolls out elaborate plan to ensure road projects and dams are completed and citizens given over 6 million title deeds before he retires after polls. Okay, in the next 20 days, thereabouts. He's saying he wants to finish up all these things. Oregon probe on Ask Kipyegon bags gold. Pale, we are doing very badly at Oregon. Biden wants KRA to spy on farms. Okay, inside Safaricom top executive shake-up. Watu wametoka Safaricom. Haya, haraka upesi kwa masa. Good morning to you, FREDRICK Okango, if you are ready. Good morning.
Good morning, Gerald. Niko salama. Nashukuru sana. Na wanatakul nimeona wamechangamka asubuhi.
Homera ukia mapema kazi.
Naona tuko sawa, kuna maneno mingi.
How have you been since you left here last?
The last time I left here, I've been very well. We have been in the campaigns. Okay. I came back the other day. I'm taking a break this week, and I go back on Friday.
Okay.
Home stretch. Yes.
Unaomba kura ama unaombea mdosi?
Mimi naombea Wakenya ambao wamejitokeza kura. Kuanzia Raila Odinga, Gideon Moi, Martha Karua na wale wengine ambao ni waazimio, kwa sababu jinsi mnavyojua mimi ni mwanaazimio kamili. Hiyo ndio kazi ambayo nafanya sasa hivi. So it has been a very exciting campaign, and we hope that Kenyans will give us an opportunity to secure their lives in the next government through offering the Azimio agenda. And that's what we pray for.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. What do you think is the state of the nation as it is right now? Hali ya nchi kwa vipi?
Hali ya nchi, watu wamekasirika. Wakenya wamehuzunika. Wakenya wamalia, machozi ikakauka. kwa sababu hakuna unga, hakuna pesa. There's nothing, Gerald. When you walk out here, you see people parking cars and taking ndudhi. You see people who are taking ndudhi walking distances to their workplace. You see people who used to eat 3 meals a day, eating 1 meal a day because the state of economy, it is melting. Things are very bad. And the fact is, we must accept that the only way to fix these issues, we look ourselves in the mirror and say, we are the problem together with our leaders. Because when you elect a leadership that is not able to deliver, then you are as well putting yourself in that bottomless pit. And that's why I keep saying this election will determine how we move forward. So to ask you, to answer you, the state of the nation is a very, very bad state. We have issues with corruption. We have issues with high cost of living. We have issues with joblessness of the majority of the people. And we have issues with insecurity in some areas of the country. As we go this election, people are panicking already. We do hope that with the proper government that is legitimately elected, with the will of the people, all these issues will be addressed. So the state of the nation is not a very good state.
Okay. Good morning, dear Joy MDIVO.
Morning, how are you?
Good to see you.
It's good to be here.
Are you sure it is good to be here?
Tunona today even came with the posse.
Who is she?
That is my firstborn daughter, Nicole.
Good morning, Nicole. 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 Unajua nategemea ulienda shule wapi? Kama ulienda polling station kama unasema Nicole. Nasikia unasema Nicole.
Nakuwa Nicole.
Good morning, Nicole. You're doing what?
Hata na feel sigh. Karibu arudi kwa gari, but we are here. Sisi ndio tuko.
Sisi ndio tuko. We are the ones who are here. All right. How have you been?
Nashukuru.
It's been a while.
It's a bit of a roller coaster, but that's what life is. Okay. Kama ni mwanasiasa hii, this is a time where you sleep less and work more.
Umekuwa mwanasiasa tena?
Nakwambia.
Okay.
Nairobi ni shamba la mawe. Ukipata mali kunalimika unalima.
Unakulia hapo. Lakini nimesikia watu wanasema bana, this is one campaign that has refused to campaign. There's no money bana. Hakuna shilingi.
Ile watu walikuwa wanasema ile kucirculate. Hiyo haiko.
Tulikuwa tunasema bana, wacha campaign ifike tuanze kujenga. Nilikuwa napiga hesabu ya mawe ya kujenga. Nikasema kwanza hii ya Kenya Kwanza itanunulia mawe. Ya Azimio itanunua simiti. Ningoje ya Wajakoya mabati.
na Mwaure upake rangi.
Nipake rangi. Ama mwingine anilete tiles. Lakini bwana, things are not looking good.
By the
ama unakota mahali huko.
Ulisikia hata candidates yana nasema hata gifts in kind. Tunakwambia shika chopa uende, lakini usinitishe shilingi.
Lakini usinisumbue ama shika poster enda uwekelee kwa ukuta. All right, what do you think is the state of the nation?
I agree with Fred. There's a lot of disquiet. People are disgruntled. People are genuinely struggling to survive. I think once upon a time, this used to be sort of the preserve of people who are, you'd call them low class. If I don't like using that term, but now what else do we do? But now you get to a place, even people in the middle class will tell you they've also joined the league of Abandu Basababalala, guys who wash their hands only once a day. You only have dinner. You have a light breakfast, you just take tea during the day and wait for dinner. And these are guys who are struggling. You're deciding, do I fuel the car to the office or do I take a matatu? Matatus now will take you 400 bob from your house to there. Wow. So we've come to a place where things are genuinely very difficult for many Kenyans. And they're upset about it. So the state of the nation right now, people are like, we have reached what we called in chemistry, titration point. It's the tipping point. Any more of this, it turns acidic. It becomes bad. So I think something has got to give. We are on the knife's edge.
Okay. All right. And there has been some level of interventions that has come in. 2 interventions that happened earlier this week. One is for fuel. During the week, as the week began, we had a fuel shortage that was felt across the country. Ikasemekana ya kwamba mafuta hakuna. Kumbe mafuta was supposed to go to 186. Then the president comes out and says, well, guys, I'm here. And I'm here to save you. Now, the fuel price is not going to rise. We're going to continue enjoying the same. Unga 250. The president comes out. Aro, I'm here. From tomorrow, unga 100 shillings. Do you feel relieved?
At the beginning of the year, if I only had 1,000 bob in my pocket for fuel, I knew I could fuel my car to the office and back home and have a little leftover for the next morning. Now, for me to pull the same feet, I have to use 2,000 shillings. So do I feel relieved? No, I feel the pinch. I feel the pinch. And unfortunately for me, and for other Kenyans, the size of our pocket has remained the same. What we were bringing in has even sometimes diminished.
Yes.
Those of us who are in industries where we are making our own money, it's not a salary. So you find that even your income has reduced, but the expenses have gone up. I was telling someone these days, I have learned to find out where the wholesalers are. Mnashikana na mama wawili mnanunua bili moja mnagawana, because it's cheaper to buy in wholesale now in bulk than it is to go to a supermarket and pick one items. So we have to come to a place where we understand that, yes, these interventions do make a difference, but already life is very tough. So for example, the unga one. One day we are told unga is going to be 100 bob. We are really pleased about it. The next day you're told, okay, there was no deal between the government and the millers. Why? Because the millers say, you know what? We've had this stunt before, and last time we were not paid. This is people's private enterprise. Because if they go into losses of millions, even them, they've got people they're hiring, they've got bills they're paying. So they also suffer loss. Inakuwa ni kisungumkut. And I think relieved, no, not quite.
Before I throw the same question to Okango, then what do you think is the permanent solution to the issues of cost of living? Because that is what Kenyans are. That's the problem. This is a pandemic. The cost of living is an immediate pandemic. Do you think subsidizing is a solution? What then do you think is a permanent solution? Because even looking back at the conversation that the running mate said yesterday, it's not, the solutions are not coming out very clear. What do you think is the solution to this?
Giving people handouts gives temporary relief. But you've had the old saying of don't give me fish, show me how to fish. An enabling environment for people to be able to work, for people to be able to make enough money, to be able to buy whatever they want. That is what is that is, in my opinion, the permanent solution. Because there are those of us who are feeling the pinch. But you know, there's a section in this society who they still eat bread every day. They don't even care how much it is. They still drive their car everywhere. They don't care how much fuel is. Because for them, because you have the money in the pocket, it doesn't make a difference. So if you're able to create an environment where everybody can work and the work brings a return that helps them afford the standard of living to which they're accustomed or to which they desire, then people don't care how much you sell fuel for because they have the money to pay it. But if the enabling environment does not exist, and what I have to do is depend on you for life and sustenance, then that is not dignifying. It is dehumanizing. And in my opinion, just give people a chance to make money. That's all they need.
Okay. If I have a chance to make money, the same question to you, Okango. We've been saying all these things. And the government has been very quick to talk about subsidies. You know, subsidize this, let's subsidize fuel, subsidize unga, subsidize this, whenever there's of unga, for instance, we are being given a relief of 2 weeks. 4 weeks, actually. But, I mean, what do you think about the whole debacle of the cost of living? And how can we fix this once and for all?
Gerald, as I said earlier, it appears that today even the rich are crying because the effects are too much. And even those who have money, those who don't have, go to them to ask them for money every day. So they'll feel it. But I think the cost of living as experienced by Kenyans in the last 5 years or so has been so high. One of the things that the government has done in the recent past, particularly on the subsidies, the fuel subsidy, the unga subsidy, and the rest, is temporary relief. But I want to believe that it is better to at least try and address the issue than not addressing it totally. What we must do and what we want to ask the government of President Kenyatta and Ruto in the short term, let them help Kenyans get something to eat first. An angry man, an hungry man is an angry man. And that's why you see majority of the people walking on the streets, they talk to themselves. People are becoming mad.
People having board meetings with themselves.
Yes, it's very bad because they didn't eat last night. They are not going to eat breakfast. They don't even know whether they'll eat dinner, leave alone lunch. But the issues that must be addressed are issues to do with energy. Okay. When the cost of energy is so high, then the cost of production becomes very high. So as a matter of fact, that must be addressed. Even when you address the issues of food production, where we have to look at in the long term, and I'm sure you'll discuss about that in the manifestos, yes, the issues of input, farm inputs, fertilizer, and all other seeds, we must make them accessible and make them available and cheap to our farmers so that they can secure ourselves in terms of food production. Number 3, in the long term, we must look at the effects of corruption that has put us where we are. Because most of these, we look at the National Cereals Board issue, the issues to do with corruption, they have a very big effect on how the cost of living can be viewed, particularly on the higher scale. So I think that addressing those 3-4 issues can take us to a better place in the long term. But in the short term, the government must guarantee subsidies and when need be, extend every time. Because if you give subsidies for only 2 weeks, 3 weeks, what happens next? Yes. People will go back to the same problem, and you're not helping them. So I want to believe that it is very good. I mean, it's interesting that this government of William Ruto and Uhuru Kenyatta is going home in the next 20 days. A new government will come in. That new government will be either Raila's or Ruto's. But you know, they'll come in with new teams who think differently. We want to ask as Kenyans, and these I want to speak as a Kenyan, and I'm very objective here, that the government that is going to come in, and I hope that government will be Raila's, must look at the long-term effect. In Raila Odinga's manifesto, Azimio, we have said that in 100 days, we are going to lower the cost of living by looking at the cost of unga, energy, and issues to do with the data that the young people are using to try and start businesses. That must happen. And lastly, Gerald, we cannot forget that there are issues to do with the climate change that has affected us globally. And therefore, in terms of climate adaptation and resilient plans or whatever, we must also look at that. How do we fix our environment such that in the long run, we have got climate change issues that have been addressed and not affecting our food production generally. Yes.
And the thing is, before you leave us, yes, you both sides, you represent 2 parts of the political divide that are seeking office. Both Azimio, you represent Azimio. To some extent, Joy speaks for Kenya Kwanza. You guys have a manifesto that you put on the table that was almost dissected yesterday, so for a few minutes. On the issues of the cost of living, what is the plan from Azimio?
Azimio has looked at economy generally. And we are looking at economy under what we call economic revolution. And in looking at economic revolution, we must change the economy. Today, this economy is melting because of so many factors. And we are saying, how do we create a labor-intensive manufacturing sector that can create jobs for young people and majority out there? How do we create an agricultural environment that farmers can have cheap inputs like fertilizer, can have cheap inputs like seedlings, and can have an environment where they can produce food and secure the country. We are talking about how do we look at environment, issues to do with climate change that have been affecting us for the long term and now make it better so that our food production can be better. We're also talking about the issues to do with immediate help to the families that are most vulnerable. What we call social infrastructure. And
6,000.
This is how you're going to improve lives in the short term. We are saying, because we have a program called Inua Jamii, and under Inua Jamii, we have got 3 categories. The first category are the vulnerable families that we do help, we do expect that we'll reach over 8 million Kenyans through 2 million families and give them 6,000 cash to help them, start their lives. To help them sort out their life. Number 2, we're talking about the single mothers that no one cares about. There are so many in Kibera, Gorogocho, Mathare, Mukuru. They don't have husbands or they are widows. all those. And we're looking at also the young people, the third category. Okay. These young people do not have jobs, and there are millions. We introduce kazi kwa vijana so that they can get something. And lastly, we are looking at how do we lower the cost of living proper by looking at the issues of industrialization. Okay. We're talking about Azimio la Ugatuzi. When you talk about Azimio la Ugatuzi, we look at one county, one product. What is this county doing that they can specialize in terms of food production that can help in the national food basket? We're also talking about corruption, because the cost of living is directly linked to corruption. High cost of living is directly linked to corruption. Okay. When we have a wastage of public resources, we have wastage of public money that is allocated into agriculture, allocated into buying maize, allocated into National Cereals Produce Board, allocated into all these issues. Then again, you deny the Kenyans opportunity to enjoy an environment that is food secure. So in Azimio, we strongly believe that when you look at the issues of economic revolution, social infrastructure, and good governance, you shall have addressed this issue, because we know for sure Kenyans are hardworking people, Kenyans are good people. They wake up in the morning. Today, as we sit here, Gerald, in my village, the families in those villages have woken up, they are plowing their farms. They are hoping that the rains will be sustained and the crops will grow and they'll harvest. But if we have got an activity that is affecting the climate and then deprive us of rains, then the adaptations are not resilient, that means we shall not harvest, even in Uasin Gishu, where you come from. Number two, today as we speak here, the farmers in Uasin Gishu are hoping that the price of a bag of maize will go up, government will buy at that price, and then they take their kids to school. If the government is not having an environment where corruption is not thriving, as we have seen before, then the cost of living will go up. And that's why we are tying economic revolution, social infrastructure, and good governance together in the long term to lower the cost of living. But in the short term, we do hope that the families that are, most vulnerable, we give them the 6,000 for starters, and a program that is already going on. So 6,000 is an addition to the 2,000 that the current government is giving. It's an improvement. We hope that Kenyans will listen to us and will lower the cost of living together as a matter of priority within 100 days.
Okay, before I leave you, Okango, where I come from, I was in Eldoret over the weekend. Yes. And people have planted. They have never stopped planting. Yes. They've been planting every year. There's maize always in the farms. The bees guys have never, where you come from, you say they're plowing. They have never stopped plowing. They plowed last year, they did that. I think the most integral issue that I know is talking about the cost of unga. Even if you say, me, I'm not vulnerable, but I mean, it's expensive for me to buy that. Even you are not vulnerable. But it's expensive. Whenever you go to a supermarket with 10,000 shillings, you walk out with a bag like this in your hands. Kitambo, ulikuwa unahitaji your whole family to help you carry this. We are talking about distribution. We are not talking about production. When you talk about processing, how can we process what we don't have? And how does that help? Is there a way we can begin talking about production more than distribution? Because we talk about giving. What are we giving? Even the government is broke.
That's true. That's true. So, and that's why if you look at Azimio agenda, what we call Azimio agenda, issues of production is a very big issue. In fact, we have a whole agenda 4. We call it Azimio la Ukulima, that specifically addresses the issues of production. Okay, makes sense. What are we producing? Where are we producing? And it is tied to counties. The 47 counties are not the same. There are certain counties that there are food baskets. There are certain counties that are dry. There are certain counties that are semi, and so on and so forth. So in every county, we must have a product that they produce that can help Kenyans. And that's why we say one county, one product. Then that ties again with how much the government is willing to support the Kenyans who are farmers in terms of that production. So we strongly believe, other than just distributing, what is this country producing? This country is a very rich country. It's a country that has got rich soil that can be used in food production. It's a country that has a lot of land, arable land, that is lying idle, that can be converted. It's a country that has a lot of water. If we protect our water towers, as you're saying, in terms of climate change, we protect them and use that water in terms of accessibility to farmers to irrigate and do all these things, I can guarantee you, Gerald, we'll be food secure. What we need the right leadership in place. Okay. I strongly believe that the two formations, Kenya Kwanza and Azimio, both of them have articulately talked about what they're going to do that. Kenyans will decide who has the best plan for them, and that plan will come in force when they elect them.
Okay. Joy Mudiva.
Semeko.
What is ulisema kumbe kuosha mkono ni kukula. Sikuwa najua. Na vile nusa. So what is the Kenya Kwanza plan around this? Because it is that we all tiptoeing around it. We're talking about distribution. You're not talking about production. You're talking about how can the farmer be able to produce more at a lesser cost? How can you ensure that the consumer at the end? Because people are saying, even where I come from, watu wanasema kwani tuko na contract ya kulisha watu na mahindi. Wacha tuachane tuanze kupanda avocado ama tupande vitu zingine. And that's why then the food production continues, food security continues to diminish. What is the plan?
One of the things that I think I have studied across the world, not to a great extent, okay, let me not say studied, I have observed across the world, is an enterprise like farming is not just meant to profit the farmer. It is a matter of national security. Okay. If you're able to feed your people, if you are able to keep them healthy, if you're able to feed them to the exclusion of other people, then all the better. And the war in Ukraine is one of the good examples of that. That once it started, there's some countries that looked at the fact that wheat was not coming out of Ukraine as a matter of national importance. All across the world, again, what I have observed is that often government takes an active interest in subsidizing farmers to help them to be able to make a living wage from their farming activities. Not just in terms of helping them to make a living, but also because it is strategically important for the country to be able to have enough food within its borders. So you're talking about farm inputs. Right now, if you're a farmer, one of the things that's killing you is inputs. The fertilizer is expensive. If you need pesticides, you need medicine for everything is expensive. Farm labor has also become expensive. Now, because of the erratic weather, many farmers are depending on irrigation. Water is not only scarce, when it is found, it is expensive. And so we've come to a place where, like you have correctly said, we've shifted the burden of feeding the nation to the farmer. And yet, it is in government's interest that her people are fed. So the government has to come to a place where we make strategic decisions about, for example, subsidizing farm inputs so that you're able to, for example, import a tractor duty-free. This is not a luxury vehicle. It's a vehicle that is going to make production easier, make you be able to produce more, and be able to make you feed the nation better. The cost of fertilizer, a lot of it is because of tax. If we zero rate it, for example, we'd be able to get fertilizer. And not just that, talk about now manufacturing. Are we able to even manufacture our own stuff so that we don't even have to import some of these things? Because in Kenya, there's some things that we import where the science already exists. We can produce our own. We don't have to depend on importing from outside. But you asked specifically about the Kenya Kwanza plan. And of course, we have the very famous bottom-up economic model. And at the top of the list of that model is to acknowledge that all Kenyans can work. And all Kenyans who can work should be able to work, and that work should be able to bring money. In fact, not even talking about jobs, talking about an enabling environment so that every hustle indeed matters. And that is something that I think has been said over and over again. Every hustle mattering means if all you do is online business, but you do it well and with diligence, it ought to give you a return. We've also talked about the issue of access to finance for small and medium enterprises. The cost of doing business for big business is actually managed by the fact that they're able to access credit at fairly decent price. They're able to access capital. They can attract investors because they're big business. But now you and your kibanda, if you're going to depend on Shylocks or you're going to depend on online lenders, these guys are doing predatory lending that is making the business environment for that small scale businessman even more difficult. So having sanity in the financial systems is something that will also help you to have more money left in your pocket because you're able to access funding that makes sense to you and is able to push your business forward. Many people realize that there's a lot of money at the bottom of the pyramid. And when you start at the bottom and empower people at the bottom of the pyramid to have more production, you are talking about money circulating in the economy. That money circulates and percolates to the top. Banks like Equity grew, not because we are charging high rates like we were seeing in some of the bigger banks, the then Barclays Bank on the other banks. No, they swelled because they managed to attract a huge number of people to their account. So they were able to leverage on numbers. And so in Kenya, if we manage to raise the standard of living of most Kenyans from $1 a day, $2 a day, and they're able to make at least $5 a day, that swell at the bottom will mean that even at the top, the people who are looking to grow their businesses will be able to translate that growth. The other thing is, like you said, agriculture. Agriculture has to be looked at strategically, not just as a factor of producing food for people to eat. As a daughter of a food secure nation, I know it is very important for every Muluya man to still eat that maize. So when you start talking about we're going to start producing avocado, we'll have very interesting problems. Now the millers, they were complaining and saying, fine, you want us to reduce the cost of unga, but there's even no maize in the country for us to mill. We have to go to Zambia. We have to go to Tanzania. We have to go to Uganda to look for maize for us to mill. We have gone to that extra expense to import the maize at our expense, and then we have milled it, and then you want to dictate the price. In Kenya Kwanza, one of the things we acknowledge is that government cannot be seen to fight business. Government must be seen to enable business. So if there is, for example, the need to import, in Kenya, scandals have been created by people orchestrating strategies to enable a few people to control business at the expense of many. So breaking up cartels is also a way of ensuring that businesses, the small businesses, are able to thrive. And even if you have just one foot in the door, you're able to get it. You're able to get it through. So, for example, if you've got over 300 billion in unpaid bills, that's money that should be circulating in the economy. If it's tied up in bills in the ministries, in the government, then you find it's impossible for that person to pay his mortgage, to pay his children's fees. Next thing you know is people are sliding into poverty. So government doing business with the wananchi has to make sense, not just for the government, but it must make sense also for the mwananchi. So it's a myriad, it's a cocktail of suggestions, but they have to be practical, they have to be timely. And I like the suggestion that yesterday Honorable Rigathi put across, that the very first bond they will float is to raise money to clear pending bills. Because you raise that money, release it into the economy, it starts circulating immediately, and you jumpstart the economy.
But the thing is, everyone keeps talking about we'll look at it strategically, we'll develop policies, we'll do this. We are at a manifesto point. If you get government in August, what exactly are you going to do on the cost of living? What exactly are you going to do? On farmers, what exactly are you going to do? What is that strategic thing that you're going to look at it?
Like I said,
gani exactly
if we start by paying people whose bills are pending, that's like bottom line. Because I'll tell you something. In business, having debts is like having cancer. That's not a very good analogy, but that's the only one I can think of. Because it is bad for you, but it takes a long time. You have a chance to mitigate and to cure it. But in business, if you don't have cash flow, that's like slitting your wrists and you're bleeding out. It's a matter of hours and your business is down. So when you've taken debt to finance business and you're telling somebody, by tarehe fulani I will be able to pay you, yes, you have a noose around your neck, but the noose is tightening slowly because there is hope of that payment. But when that payment does not come, then things now become elephant in Kenyan parlance. So that one thing that's going to be done within the first 90 days, as we have said, is ensure all pending bills are settled. Because in Kenya, we have this notion of once the old administration has gone out and the new one comes, the first thing they do is they want to quote unquote verify bills. And some of those people, their bills have been pending for 2 or 3 years, starting to verify them at that point is honestly just more punishment. But over and above that, the decriminalizing of business, allowing people to operate with minimum hurdles. In Kenya, it's becoming more and more difficult to do business. The number of licenses you need, even you to just run this place.
It's crazy.
You have to pay Nairobi City County. You have to pay for copyright. Do you play music copyright? By the time you're done, you wonder, did you set up shop just to pay everybody? It's like you came just to bleed the money. So we have to use government to enable business and not to fight businesses.
Okay. All right. I'm going to look at a few comments as well on start on YouTube. Ithekiwa Ithuria. Good morning, Obitok. The Tackle family. Ithekiwa Ithuria. Atikas now. Good morning, Gerald. Good morning to you, my brother, all the way from the United Kingdom. Atikas says, I've quickly checked out the deputy presidential debate from last night. Mother looked like a deer in headlights. Gachagua was firm. Let's see if it has an impact on the ground. Samuel Nyongesa, Gachagua put Karua on a wheelbarrow yesterday night. Express nyumbani. Okay. Thinkers now on farming, Gerald, why don't Kenyan farmers put time into their soils? Kenyan soils, Rift Valley and Western, are acidic. Lime would help more than fertilizer right now. Balanced soil, pH, less fertilizer. Okay. Then we need the government. I remember the time of Moi. There used to be guys called extension officers. He used to come to the village. Nasema acha tuangalie ng'ombe, tuangalie mchanga, you know, what needs to be done. I mean, the government was very involved in agriculture. And I remember growing up then, if you grew up in our days, me and Joey, I grew up earlier than now. But anyway, if you grew up around that time, there's something he used to call kilimo, ni uti wa mgongo wa uchumi.
That is true.
Kina 4K Club, kina tukipanda sukuma, na mboga, shambani. I mean, the government was very intentional about agriculture. And so it means then, if that is going to happen, the government needs to come down to the wananchi and analyze, because we don't know, our farmers don't know this is about limes, acidic, what. They know there's a shamba, where lima, weka mahindi, ngoja ive songa. Azile ijaiva wanasema maybe ni Mungu amefinya, ameleta punishment. So maybe the government needs to take that expertise down to the people and ensure that they're able to get the best, they're optimized for production. Atticus now, Jeremy, please see my question above. I do some farming in Eldoret, and lime is really changing my soils. I even use less bags of TSP and CAN when planting. DAP is acidic and spoils the soil long term. Wow, okay. I wish you could join us. You could join the conversation as well, Atticus, now on the link that we shared on the Google Meet. Join us once kuongea pole pole. Atticus now. Joy put it well. Give people a chance to make money. The problem is too much government intervention. Serikali needs to get out of wananchi's way and protect life and property mainly. Meshughulika tu na mambo ya kulinda maisha na mali. Okay, waachana mambo zingine ya kusema ati tunarani. We are running the government. Allow me to take in a few opinions from the guys who have joined us as well online. Just 2 minutes. Atticus now says taxation in Kenya is too high and very convoluted. It's insane. It contributes to the cost of everything. Okay. I don't know who's still with us online. Ken Rono, good morning. Very quickly. Ken, please unmute yourself and speak if you're ready.
Okay, good morning, Bitok.
Mambo vipi?
Okay, my question is, what's the plans that Kenya Kwanza have to university students? There is this question that has been trending that students serve at school. I'm a university student. I want to know what benefit will I get in this Kenya Kwanza manifestos?
Okay. Utaki azimio, si hata azimio inaomba kura. Okay, anyway, on both sides, on my students. Doro, good morning. All the way from America. Please unmute yourself and speak. Doro, good morning.
Good morning.
How are you doing?
Are you?
Salama sana, mambo vipi?
I'm good. Niko sawa sana. Asante.
Umetupotelea kabisa?
Niko. Niko tu hapa watching what you guys are doing.
All right, thank you. Any comments that you have regarding the conversation we've been having, especially mambo ya jana ya debate? Are you satisfied as Wanjiku? Ulisikia kama mambo yako ilizungumziwa?
Mimi nasikia ni kama mama alinizungumzia.
Okay.
And I just to be fair for the other people who were in the debate, I will not make a final how will I say, a final conclusion. But based on the debate that I watched, which was Martha and Gachagua, I felt like Martha spoke for me, and Gachagua did a lot of defending himself. I don't know if any of you noticed this. He spent most of the time not telling us what he is going to do to support his presidential candidate. He was more telling us, defending himself of what he was accused of and what he has not done and what is going to be proved. I think there was a lot of too much of that. Honestly, at this point, you're already our running, you're already our future president's running mate. At this point, we really don't care because you're already there. So don't waste time trying to defend yourself on things that have not been taken care of or things you've been accused of. At this point, we're 2 weeks away. Maybe is it 3 weeks away from elections?
Exactly.
We need to hear what you're going to do for us. We need to hear. You need to sell yourself and sell your presidential candidate so that we know where to put our vote. This is a very crucial time, very critical time for all the presidential candidates, and I think he kind of wasted time there talking for himself and not even talking for Ruto and to us.
All right. Do you think the right issues were spoken into?
Do I think what?
The right issues were spoken into. The right issues that really affect people. Do you think it was spoken into? The more relevant issues.
Yes. Some relevant issues were addressed, and he tried to speak about agriculture, and out of the two candidates, he's more agricultural. And I'm speaking of Honorable Gachagua. He's more agricultural than Martha. Martha is, corporate lawyer, no nonsense kind of a person, and she probably knows what to do to fix our problems in the future when it comes to corruption and everything. But I think the person who failed us here, who was trying to speak about something that he is supposed to be good at, which is agriculture, and that's Gachagua, he didn't tell us, first of all, what he's going to do about the prices of fertilizer. He told us, he corrected Martha and said that the fertilizer was expensive and not the price that Martha was quoting. But he didn't tell us what he's going to do to bring it down to the price that Martha was talking about. That's what people want to hear this time. Right now, we don't want to hear how will I say? We need to hear specifics. What are you going to do? Kama mahindi ni pesa mingi. What are you going to do as our future leader to bring it down to where I can afford? Okay, kama unga ni pesa mingi, if it's 250 shillings, what are you going to do to bring it to 100 and something shillings like I was used to? Those are the things we need to hear. But I think he failed to tell us that. And Martha did a good job. And let me chambua her now as I'm her supporter. She did a good job at explaining what her and Baba are going to do to fix things, especially corruption, and what they're going to do to the people that will be caught in corruption schemes. The one thing that I did not hear her address was how to bring that unga down. Hiyo sikusikia, and I probably might have missed it, but I did not hear it. So right now, if they were to be given a second chance to debate among themselves, they honestly need to come there and tell me, Wanjiko, what I need to hear is how am I going to feed my children comfortably with 10,000 shillings that I used to before that I can't right now. Like you said, you can't walk into a supermarket with 10,000 shillings and come out with a big cart of things. Right now is just a couple bags. So those are the things I need to hear. What are you going to do as my leader to get me there? And that part, I didn't hear a lot of it being addressed. And if it was, maybe somebody can correct me here.
All right. Thank you so much, Doro. All right. Coming back very quickly. Okango, your review of the debate.
Thank you so much, Gerald. I think, first of all, I must congratulate all the participants in the debate yesterday, the viewers, the audience that was present in the auditorium, and the candidates, the deputy presidential candidates, from Justina, Ruth, Martha, and Gachagua. They all did well. I am particularly impressed by Justina in the first debate, because I watched the two debates. She came out as a lady who actually can defend what she has thought about, what they have thought about as a party. And I sometimes think she was thinking without the box, not outside the box. So to that extent, I think she did well. But let's go back to the big debate. Martha Wangari Karua versus Honorable Gachagua. A debate that Kenyans were waiting for. And I remember we were with Joy in our last TV appearance. Yes. And I told the public that they should expect nothing but a stellar performance from our deputy captain, from Mama. And I really think that both Gachagua and Martha did well in their own way. But specifically for a candidate, I looked at her in terms of the impression, her performance based on the impression and overall appearance. She did very well. I looked at her in terms of articulation and eloquence. She did again very well. I looked at her in terms of demeanor, objectivity, and also ability to use logic and self-restraint, to refute or defend or to argue and accept criticism. She did also very well. And of course, clarity. But what I want to talk about, Gerald, Kenya Kwanza, who are our worthy competitors, have always told us that we are going to be a continuation, when we go form government, a continuation of President Kenyatta's and William Ruto's government. And they said, this is a Fuliza country. Honorable Gachagua made some comments on how they are going to pay the pending bills. And they said Kenya Kwanza, if elected, will float 500 billion bond to finish the pending bills. Good idea. But that money, the questions that probably I would pose to the economists is that, is a bond also a loan? And how will they pay it? From our end, Madam Martha Karua, when tackling the issues of good governance, and particularly issues of corruption, as was expected, because I did tell the public that this will come, she articulately talked about the issues of corruption and how we are going to fix it and how that is a big problem in this country and has affected us. So I also was very impressed with the nature of the rebuttal, the 1 minute rebuttal from both sides. But I think for me, Martha, our candidate, had it more because she was able to accept, remember the issue that our competitors have been bringing in, the issue of BAT. It was an opportunity that Martha used to address the issue of BAT, where the money came from, who the money was meant for, and how it was used. And therefore, she was clear about that. When Gachagua was asked about the issue of funds in his account, the allegations that he was arraigned in court over, and the source, in my view, he had a perfect opportunity to tell Kenyans the source of this money, because he said it's from business. When he was asked, because the allegations are such that, doing business with the county government, he denied and said he worked with the Minister of Local Authority, Minister of Lands, all those issues. And he said those were money that were there before even the advent of devolution. So again, something was not clear about there. But over the same, he had an opportunity to express himself. Then the other issue that was very particular for me yesterday was on the issue of how we are going to, ensure that we lower the cost of living pronto. And again, Martha, in a submission, she was very articulate. And as Azimio have always said, within 100 days, this issue of high cost of living must go down. And using the three-pronged approach, economic revolution, social infrastructure, and good governance. She was articulate about it, and she did very well. Gachagua also did his bit, and the people also believe that he addressed those issues. So in general, Gerald, I think Martha and Gachagua did very well for their for themselves and for their respective coalitions or political formations. But for us, we are very much impressed with Martha because she's our candidate, deputy presidential candidate, and we are impressed because she has come out to speak not only for Kenyans, but also for the majority of young women. And one of them just spoke in this show, and you have heard what she has said. She spoke to their heart. Today, very many women out there are looking at Martha and saying, we for sure have a lady that can fight for us at the top. Women have been forgotten for a very long time. And I said in the last appearance, and I said that Azimio la Umoja One Kenya have an agenda and they have the gender. The women of this country, when Martha was talking about issues to do with inclusivity, something that must come out is that, and I'm sure we'll keep on emphasizing, is how do we bring on board women, not only in the cabinet, but also from the grassroots, Kasipul Kabondo, where I come from, the women in that village. How do we make it, as a new government, they have access to business funds, they have access to funding, they have access to opportunity, they have access to political opportunities and all spheres of life, so that they can build themselves and stand alone and be counted as women who are important just like as men. That is only possible if you have got a defender like Martha, if you have got defenders who are elected women, if you have got defenders who are appointed cabinet secretaries in the Azimio government. For sure, Raila Amolo Odinga will do that. And lastly, so that I give you an opportunity also to make a comment, we must understand that this election, the debate is just part of it. The bigger issue that Kenyans must look forward for is 9th. When you are going to cast your ballot, who are you casting your ballot for? That person, what does she or he stand for? And if she stands for what you believe in, then how will she or he implement that once she or he is in office? Azimio has said, we have an agenda, and that agenda is implementable. And in terms of practicality of the discussions that we saw, I still believe that Azimio, through Martha, articulated issues that are practical and can be done. And where she was not aware about issues, she talked about it. And where she felt that Gachagua was not very confident and was not able to answer, she helped Gachagua answer. For example, the issue of state capture. She came in as a lawyer and addressed that issue. I'm not saying Gachagua did not have the perfect answer, because everyone has their own answer. But I strongly believe that she stood out, and from our perspective, she did very well. How I hope that the organizer of the debate would have tried to make 2 appearances for each candidate. Then now we can actually start reviewing who did best, who did, you can only review after the second, you can only talk about after the second appearance, the same way the Americans do their debates. But generally, I think it was a good debate. It was exciting from both sides. I'm a very objective Kenyan. I must give credit where it's due. Gachagua, also from his end, I strongly believe, and I saw, there are certain questions that he came out well, other than attacking President Kenyatta, which he has a right to as a Kenyan, because he believed that that is what has also affected him as a politician. He did well.
Okay. All right. To you, Joy. What's your analysis and the review of the debate?
Fred is right. The last time we were with him on one of the local TV stations, he did say that Martha will bring a stellar performance to the debate. And we waited for Stella, and Stella didn't turn up. Instead, we had a very, very muted Martha, because those of us who've known Ms. Martha, Honorable Martha, for a long time, we know her for a
I thought you were giving credit.
I am giving plenty of credit. She's usually a firebrand. She usually spits fire. She speaks her mind. And then yesterday we saw a Martha who was very greatly subdued. And I think maybe this is partly due to the coaching that obviously goes into the preparation for this. She must have been given feedback that you come across as being effervescent. But now they took it to the extreme, because she was so dialed down until, like Fred, I kept actually wishing that she had a second bite at the cherry so that we could see a little bit of fire that we were used to with Ms. Martha. Because as an advocate, one of the people that you look up to are the lawyers who've gone ahead of you. And as senior counsel, she's one of the women who's been a trailblazer in my profession. So yesterday, I must say, she gave a good account of herself, but there was something missing there. On the other hand, one of the things that Azimio made their mission from the moment we named our running mate as Kenya Kwanza was to make out Rigathi to be an incompetent, bumbling fool who is nothing but a demerit to the Ruto ticket. And yesterday, I think he proved his naysayers wrong. Because he showed that he has a grasp of the issues. He held his own. He spoke his piece. He was not in a place where he could decide what questions he was being asked. And so when the presenter started with, what is the source of your wealth? Where did you get it from? And we know that he was Honorable Uhuru Kenyatta's PA for a long time. And that is where his fortunes must have started rising. Surely, it ended up being a debate about Uhuru and intimidation, rather than them steering the conversation towards what are you going to do for Kenyans. So I think the organizers, we've given them this feedback before when it was the gubernatorial debate, and it's the same feedback I have now. Both of these candidates, I'm sure yesterday came prepared to speak to their manifesto, to speak to the things that they were going to do for the country. But for the first 45, 50 minutes of the debate, it was spent on sideshows, people having to defend each other, attack each other, make accusations, counter accusations, but those remain mere allegations. So I think like many Kenyans who were expecting a more enlightening debate, that was not for yesterday. But what did come out yesterday is that Honorable Rigathi proved that surely he knows his stuff. He's not such a bumbling fool as people wanted him to be. I saw a tweet by, I think it was Gadar or someone, saying that maybe the bar was set too low so that Rigathi could shine. But the people who set the bar low are the people who kept insisting that he was not fit for the job. But now, aside from the jokes of the day, in terms of delivery, I think the candidates came very well prepared. The time was obviously a constraint. The questions and the type of engagement that they got from the interviewers was also a little bit wanting. Somebody also commented, I think I saw on Twitter or Facebook, who said maybe they need to start using people other than our regular journalists to do these interviews and look for technocrats, people in the field who will actually ask objective questions. Because some of these people, we already have seen them on air. We know their leanings, we know their biases. So when they come, they can't help themselves. That's who they are. They're doing their best with what they have as well. But we have seen that the best of what they have is not good enough. Those the complaints during the gubernatorial debate where the personalities of the interviewers got in the way of the interview. Same thing with last night. So I think Kenya is making progress, trying to be more open with such things. But if we're going to do it right, let's also try and learn from the errors. I saw it went up to 2 minutes from 1 minute, because before it was in 60 seconds, would you tell us? And that was, a little bit of nonsense time. But 2 minutes was a little bit easier for somebody to be able to articulate their points. Maybe moving forward, we need to have fewer topics, more direct questions. In fact, if the questions can be given beforehand, or the topics, the general areas, you say we are going to talk about 1, 2, 3, 4 topics, and the organizers ensure that the questions that the people who have are in those 5 topics. Let's just stick to the script, because that's what Kenyans want. Yesterday also, I have to agree with Fred. For the earlier debate, Ms. Justina came out as very eloquent. She knew a little bit of her stuff. Some of the stuff that she said was, I was like, oh, if we fact check that may not really hold water. But whatever she said very confidently. Ms. Mutua, I think, was a little bit of deer caught in headlights. This was maybe a new experience for her. I think Justina has had a stab at politics before. Even Purity, I think, has tried politics before. But you could see yesterday, Justina came a lot more prepared for this than Miss Purity did. Miss Purity still gave a
good fight.
Brave account of herself. Because for such a large scale, a large set, you are in front of the entire nation. All the media houses are covering you. Anybody would have nerves. And so I actually laud the ladies for turning up, for doing the best that they could. Yesterday was a triumph for Kenyan women as a whole. Because of all the debaters, only one was a woman. And the women who came actually came with their A game. So I think for women leadership as well, it was inspiring. I'm sure even the people in the audience who are watching, it was inspiring to see. For once, it's a stage dominated by women. So for me yesterday, as a woman, I was actually excited that we had a chance to showcase ourselves. But in terms of helping the voters to choose which way to go, I think all he did was maybe encourage the people in Kenya Kwanza that the choice of deputy was not such a disastrous mistake. It was also an eye-opener for Azimio to realize, you know what, he's no pushover. You all kept thinking, oh, give him a debate with Martha. Let us see. Well, he got the debate with Martha. And now you have seen...
Penny Rigathi mic.
Yeah, Penny Rigathi mic. Rigathi got the mic yesterday. And when he was done, he dropped the mic. So
I agree.
Everybody got their wish yesterday. I think
everybody got their wishes.
It was a good night, a good day at the office yesterday.
It was a win for both teams. It's a win.
But the one thing we must also be happy about is that Kenyans are coming to a place where we can have cordial discussions about our politics. Once upon a time, it was nothing but the rallies na matusi.
But did you see,
debates are good.
Joy, at the end of the debate, that embracing each other, Martha and the grandchildren went to Rigathi, and they had a chat for a few minutes.
Hugged all of them, including Martha.
You know, I mean, that is what we expect. If I'm looking forward to the presidential debate, you know, William Ruto, Daktari,
and Babaman,
when they have a few minutes, 2 minutes just talking about Tinga, umekuwa namna gani bana? Unajua hii kitu si vita bana. You know, and then Kenya
will relax.
And I think on a personal level, they are at that level. It's just in the rally, you have to bring the show.
Exactly. Now they have to bring it back at the debate. And Gerald, that is today we are discussing with Joy here. Joy is she strongly believes in the ideals of Kenya Kwanza because that's her conviction. I strongly believe in Azimio. But when we get out of here, we are still friends, we still talk.
Yes.
This is not war. This is just a campaign in what you believe in, and Kenyans watching out there. Hakuna vita Kenya. Sisi sote at the end of the day, when Kenya Kwanza wins, Kenyans shall have won.
You might even find
when
Okangos
wins, that's politics. But for now, we must defend our ideals and make it better as we progress. That is the politics we'd want to see. And I want to congratulate Martha, Rigathi, Justina, Ruth. They did well.
Okay. In fact, you know, that point, Gerald, has to be underlined. Because all the people who are running for office are Kenyans. Whoever wins is our brother, is our sister, is
this
our leader. And we have to come to a space where Kenyans, we should be willing to accept political contest as just that. It is a contest. And once it's over and done with, you move on to the next big thing. Because at the end of the day, if Kenyans have learned anything, even if your candidate wins, he does not come to your house and personally congratulate you with $1 million shillings for voting for him. For us, it doesn't make a difference. Tomorrow, the next day after voting, you have to get up early, go to the office, look for your look for your chakula. You have to go home, make food for your children. Your life has to carry on the same way it does every day. So hii maneno ya kufanya kama ni kama mpira, ukishinda tumeshinda kikombe na wewe kushinda kitu. Ukienda nyumbani bado unatembea mguu. Kenyans need to learn by the way. Hiyo ya Amanda go tuweke tu kwa lungs. Let the politicians
content tupumue na tusonge na maisha. All right. I'm seeing Doro is still on the line. I'm coming to you shortly, Doro. Karada. Kwanza Media TV, Fred Okango, kubali ukweli. Carol Longit, no objective national questions that that touched on all, more of tackling corruption and Gachagua money. Karis official Bitok, I think the moderators failed to steer the debate. They failed to ask the critical questions and focusing on allegations, not the real issues, okay? That's on YouTube. On Facebook, Abbas Juguna, Azimio is an extension of Jubilee. Martha confessed they were picked by the chairman. Okay. Elvis KW, thank you. Thank you for sharing so much. KW, God bless you. Doro, he was hiding something about his money. I'll get back to that as well. Abbas Juguna said they would also increase the tax base, that is on issues of raising funds, apart from floating the bond, that they're going to expand the tax base. Rafael Kibiji, Gachagua explained clearly or not to bring fertilizer down. Tell the lady to replay. Abbas Juguna blamed the interviewers who were asking the questions, not Gachagua. He was only responding. Mera Rigathi came with one strategy, to call out Martha Karua on hypocrisy on fight against corruption. While she is whining and dining with the thieves in Azimio, he also wanted to tell Uhuru, who is currently unpopular, he held a feet to the fire. It worked. Okay. Justus Wafula, Kenyans are not 6K. Food Kenyans are not full. Zono Mangut, logged in. Asante. Justus Wafula, Busia border watching. Say I to Joy, Kenya kwanza. Asante. Akimois, Jot, Bitok, uko unga inaendelea kupanda bei. Eri kuliko vita ya Kerio Valley, but suffering from trauma of insecurity and cost of living. Pole ni sana watu wa Kerio Valley. Karuki wa Masi, I like FREDRICK OKANGO today. He looks sober and he has a balanced debate. As Kamebur, Justina Wamai was the Kamal Harris, even if she was talking about weed and snake farming, killing of dogs and hyenas and exporting Kaka's Manifesto. Okay, it was Martha and corruption versus Gachagua and state capture. State capture won. Okay, generally, TG, following you from Tiati, Baringo County. Thank you. John MC, hello, good to see you. Okay. Kili Boy says, good morning, Gerald. The debate was good, though the media and those guys who organized everything didn't ask the right questions. The questions were very poor. Okay. Rona Magu says, sure, iko sawa. Karua was busy defending Honorable Uhuru and Raila. Ask Kameburu, wow, such growth for FREDRICK OKANGO. Used to call KK yellow fever. Good job. I'm coming to you, Doro. Good. All right, your comments, Doro. Your microphone is a bit low. I don't know what's going on. Mm-hmm.
Yes.
But your voice is not very clear. Unless you guys can hear clearly.
Maybe she need to move closer to the mic.
I know. I'm anatumia mic ya laptop.
Oh.
Daro. Unakaa vizuri lakini sauti hakuna. Weka earphones. Kipro Patrick. Lazima tunangoja earphones ya Doro. Kipro Patrick, can mute yourself and speak. Good morning. Kipro, good morning. Ama ni kama mimi ndio niko na shida ya sauti, ni kama si Doro. Was also Kipro has a problem. So please, Steve, check. We are checking Doro. We are getting back to you shortly. Steve, angalia sauti ya microphone. Just as Otumwa said, the debate was not objective. The panelists missed the mark, dwelled more on rumors instead of what they will offer to Kenyans. Okay. Carl, I think I said it. Now, guys, as we're waiting for the sound check, there's something I want to ask. There are three issues that both candidates tiptoed around. One of them is wealth. Rigathi Gachagua came out, says, yes, I'm worth 800 million minus the 200 has been captured. I don't know. I think it didn't sound very sincere about it. Martha Karua as well lied. She said she's now worth 150 million. And it was 56 million back because remember she ran last time, and she said she's worth 56 million, but she said it has grown from 56 million to 150 million because of inflation. So I can put my money somewhere and just chill and wait for inflation to grow my money. Another thing they tiptoed around was corruption, campaign money source. Both of them they tiptoed around it on where do they really get the money to run their campaigns. And third is on corruption. Nobody seems to come out with a clear roadmap towards fighting corruption. The three issues. Who spoke last? Was it?
Let Joey go.
Okay. The three issues. Wealth.
On campaign financing, let me start with campaign financing. We used to have the proposal in the campaign financing law, but the parliamentarians and the politicians have never been keen on it because in Kenya we spend too much on our campaigns. And inviting scrutiny into how much we spend on our campaigns will ensure that some people who benefit from the large donations during campaigns don't benefit from it. Okay. In other jurisdictions, all campaign money must be traced, must be accounted for. And what is not utilized and was our campaign donation must either be returned or donated to charity. In Kenya, it is personal enterprise. Yeah, so
ile change na baki tunakola pole pole.
Bana change na jasho. Hiyo ndio unaweka kwa mfuko bwana, unapangusa machozi ya losing elections na hizo manoti.
Ambe mwili pole.
So it's one of those things where I think as of necessity they have to be cagey about it, because if they are overly disclose, the taps may run dry. Some of them, you would also imagine, would not have their own personal campaign funds, and whoever the donors are wish to remain anonymous. So you hear terms like good corporate friend, you hear terms like well-wishers, normal Kenyans, and I'm like, these normal Kenyans of goodwill who donate to choppers.
Who cannot afford unga.
Oh Lord, Father Lord, remember me. Even me want to donate choppers. So we have to sort of cut them some slack when it comes to campaign financing. But when it comes to personal wealth, this is a question that is of public notoriety, that public officers have to declare their wealth. It was interesting, like you said, that it was inflation that grew Martha's wealth from 50 million to 150, was it 200 million in the last few years. I was like, even me, I've had a bit of money, surely. Hata yangu ingekuwa imemea. Pia mimi ningekewa hiyo baking powder. Maana hata ile kidogo niko nayo inaendaga tu ikipungua, si ati inaenda ikiongezeka. But that said, it's a good step that people, I'm sure the figures were given were conservative, for lack of a better word. I doubt if we really audited them that that's all that they're worth. But it's good that they even put a figure. They even said something. So we are growing into it, I think, as Kenyans. But I agree with you. There's plenty of caginess. How much has been frozen? How much is still working? How much is still available? Where did you get your money from? There's some of those questions where, even if they're very interesting, they were part of what derailed the conversation. Because once we started going down that rabbit hole, you sort of have to follow it to the end. And in doing that, you waste valuable time. In my opinion, if you have some of those juicy questions, save them to the end, the latter part. Let's deal with the substance. Once we have dealt with the substance, then tukipata tuko na dakika 10 za ziada, we can be like, by the way, where do you buy your shoes? How much did that bag cost? Because some of those questions, I think, coming at the beginning, derailed us. And as you can see, because they're not questions you're willing to give a ready answer, you will do as much as you can to run around Kasarani until finally watu wachoke waachane na wewe. But also, in terms of trying to come across as being honest, it was a chance also for the candidates to throw jabs at each other. So you had Honorable Martha with that, I'm not greedy for land, I'm not greedy for money, I don't like a lot of money anyway, and I don't know how to be a billionaire. Yes. And on the other hand, you had Rigathi, but those are just allegations. I can't say that because they are mere allegations. So it was also a chance for some good banter between the candidates, which I thought lightened the mood a little bit. I mean, that was the one time it cracked a smile from Honorable Martha's face. When she had the mere allegations being floated, at least she gave us that beautiful smile of hers, and I was like, oh, at least we have broken a bit of ice.
I've said, but I'm not going to pin you on it.
Nimesema lakini ningekuwa na nafasi ningesema lakini sitasema. It was very interesting, but I wish the questions those questions have come towards the end because they took up valuable time of real hard-hitting issues
that affect Mwananchi.
Yes.
But on the same thing, before we move to corruption, you realize that on the issues that are very personal to the both of them, they were not going for their jugular. Like, they're not going for each other's neck. When it comes to things like wealth, comes to sensitive matters that are a bit close to themselves, or even campaign funds and all that, they were not very hard on each other. Like, this one could answer, but it's not a battle. They are not
of glass houses and stones.
You are lying.
It is of glass houses and stones.
And I think that is, for me, that's a message to Mwananchi. Like, these guys actually, somehow they look out for each other. They are like this and this. But before I come to you, finally on corruption.
On corruption,
very cagey as well.
Both of them have got very diametrically opposed approaches. So Honorable Martha talks about zero tolerance. We are going to come down hard on corruption. You had Honorable Rigathi saying, for us, the big idea is let the institutions work. Let the institutions work. And I think both approaches, by the way, are not mutually exclusive. This is one of those things where I don't even think there's need to have a distinction on how it would be fought. Because the starting point is having strong, independent institutions. And so it makes sense to set institutions free. But there is also a level of political will that is needed to make that happen. So what Honorable Martha is suggesting and Azimio is suggesting, and what Kenya Kwanza is suggesting, in my opinion, are the two sides of the same burger. It's the same bun that has been split in half. They're two sides of the same coin, the two faces of the same coin. Both of them have to work, because political interference has been one of the major reasons why the fight against corruption in Kenya is stunted. It is because most of the time when you try to get into investigations, a phone call is made, intervention is made, transfers are done, and then we find that something has to die natural death. But also at the same time, it cannot be wished away. That both of them, like you have said, both of them in each of their camps, when it comes to corruption, it's the pot and the kettle. Everybody has got a few skeletons that if they start kuvua nguo, like I saw, was it this Ugandan who's so interested in our affairs, what's his name, Masanga, saying, oh, Rigathi has confirmed that they'll go after Uhuru after. Why would a president be afraid of somebody going after him if there's nothing to go after? So in Kenya, I think all the politicians, when it comes to corruption, it's pots and kettles. They're all black. So everybody has to talk about it very carefully. Very carefully, because leo ni mimi, na kesho ni wewe.
Right, Okango. What interesting conversation.
I think Joy has put it very well. You know, on the issues of wealth declaration, the fact that candidates can come out and say, I'm worth this much, is a very good step.
But the question is it the truth?
Gerald, the truth is only known by the person saying it. And that's the rule of politics. And we give it to them. Number two, Martha did put it out there that it is important that public officers, when getting to office, they sign those wealth declaration forms. What are you worth when you're getting in, and what are you worth when you're coming out, so that your life can be under public scrutiny. And that's public accountability. So to that extent, they did well. In terms of campaigning funds, you know, Kenyans are very intelligent people. They're saying, when James Mart asked Rigathi, where do you get your, Rigathi said, Kenyans don't have money in their pockets. And then when he's asked, where do you get your campaign funds from? From Kenyans. From the same Kenyans who don't have the money in their pocket. Again, you see how Kenyans are very keen on this. Martha Karua on the other side said, there are people who do donations. She has one chopper from a corporate friend who she has been giving her the chopper and she's using. And again, she accounted for that. So both of them, in terms of campaign financing, did very well. Just said something. Sometimes back, there's this law, what's called Election Campaign Financing Act, that was passed. And then there was some regulations therein from IBC that was supposed to be passed in Parliament. Parliamentarians rejected those regulations, particularly on the limits, because politicians do not want to be limited to the extent that disallow them to use the money they have. You have seen in the last 2 weeks, Gerald, where a rally is like a chopper parking. You have seen that?
Hey, I saw that.
10 of them, 5 of them,
like
2 of them. Yes, and do you know the cost of hiring a chopper for a day? It is millions.
Not even for a day, per hour.
Per hour. So that's why they didn't want that. But that is our Kenyan politics. On the issue of corruption, again, Rigathi said that in strengthening institutions, and they should work, but he had a problem with the police that were investigating him. Said they are not accountants, and therefore they would not know the difference between suspense account and the account. Martha, in her rebuttal, said that Azimio, we are going to ensure that these cases of corruption are dispensed in the shortest time possible. You are acquitted or convicted. And I think that is a better way, so that we don't start talking about Eurobond that were done long time ago. We don't talk about all those old scandals, and they're still proceeding and then wasting people's time. I think that was a good rebuttal. And lastly, Gerald, I think that we are making progress. These debates are a perfect way of subjecting those who want to be in position of leadership to look at their suitability, competency, and capability. And Kenyans are awake. They know. They're looking. People might argue that it doesn't really add much, but let me tell you, there are people who are now viewing Rigathi differently. There are people who are now viewing Martha differently.
That's true.
And most of those people will make that decision on the ballot. So it's a good thing. The other issue on the organizer of the debate, as Joy said, let's try and now narrow down on specific topics so that these other issues can become the icing in the cake. Even if you watch presidential debates in the US, when Joe Biden was battling it with this other gentleman, Trump, you could see they are friends, but there are certain areas where ideologically they are different. They fight each other, but in a subtle way that it's just for the entertainment. And I think that's what we expect in the presidential debate. But the real issues that Kenyans want to come out, now the media are averse to the issues that Kenyans want. Cost of living, corruption, employment, healthcare, manufacturing, all those things. They can package it in a manner that they go specific and let each candidate speak to the issues from their manifesto and how they are going to implement that. So that at the end of the day, out of the debate, Kenyans have got something to take home. That Azimio will do this under Azimio la Umoja, Azimio la Wakina Mama. Kenya Kwanza will do this under whatever. That one will be important. Because today, you are likely to see memes out of this debate. And I'm sure they're already going out there on the social media. So many memes. And how I wish those memes were how you're going to lower cost of living, how you're going to fight corruption, so that Kenyans can be educative. You know, we keep on learning every day and every day. So basically, I think it was a good debate. And on the three issues you have raised, both candidates tried their very best to give an account of themselves and of their coalitions.
Okay. All right, let me get to Doro. Doro is ready. Doro, mambo vipi?
Unanisikia?
Bas. Ndio wewe.
Okay, sawa. I was actually enjoying listening to the two guests you have over there. And the thing is, first of all, I want to say the fact that Rigathi handled the mic, it doesn't mean that Martha underperformed.
Okay.
I hope we are all together on there.
Yeah, sure.
So no one should get excited that the fact that Rigathi was able to handle the mic, Martha underperformed. I'm repeating myself there. Because Martha is a mother, first of all. And if you look back and see how your mother ran your home, your mother wasn't just getting excited about anything and everything. Even if she saw you stealing the 5 shillings that she was hiding under Kebe somewhere, she's not going to just come out very excited and explode about it. She will use a tactful way to ask you about it. So Martha was Martha. Rigathi was not Rigathi. Rigathi gave a good presentation based on who Rigathi is, because usually he messes up when he has a microphone. Like anachoma kabisa. So Martha was just Martha, and don't expect her to be different. She was just her. Another thing is Martha, first of all, one of the lady, I'm sorry, I don't know her name. I like addressing people by their names.
Joy.
But yeah, so Joy, alisema Martha was looking like she was not looking herself. On a light note, I want to say Martha was looking hot. By the way, whoever did her makeup, I don't know who she is or who he is, but that person needs to be hired full time. But Martha was looking good.
But makeup is not someone. Maybe that is why she said.
Makeup is good.
Maybe that's why she said. Maybe she had seen her without makeup. That's what he said. She was not looking herself. She was in makeup. Okay, I don't know what she meant.
No. It was very good makeup. You know, there's makeup and there's bad makeup. There's good makeup and there's bad makeup. So this was good. Okay. Yeah, it just brought her out a little more. And usually you guys on TV, the people when you mmezoea kwa TV, huwa mnaekewa ka makeup. Hata sinaonanga Ruto akipakwa kidogo.
Hata Rigathi alipakwa jana, alipakwa amri.
Rigathi alipigwa.
Hata Rigathi alipakwa amri.
Gerald atupaki.
Rigathi alikuwa na Duracon. Mimi niko handsome.
Gerald atupaka na maji. Hii hapa maji. Kuna makeup.
Excuse me, I have to get off camera for a minute. So hata Rigathi alipakwa lakini wali confuse color kidogo, but he still looked okay and he did well. But kwa hii Kenya yetu, we have a mother, and I think I sat on one of those seats of yours, Gerald, about a year ago.
Yes.
And I was very frustrated. I didn't know that we would have Martha in the ballot, or any woman in the ballot this year. And I was so frustrated when we had options like Musalia, the usual people, Musalia, Kalonzo, and what's his name? This lawyer guy.
Wetangula.
Yeah, Wetangula coming back after we haven't seen them for like 5 years. So that was actually really upsetting me. And with that, I even told you, if those are the kind of characters you're going to bring us again this year, I will run as a woman. Okay. So yes, I didn't run. Thank God they didn't come back on the ballot. And we do have a woman, or we have women actually. We have 3 women that are going to be on that ballot as running mates. Okay. So that's the beginning of a conversation. And tutaenda mbali. The last time I spoke there, I said when a mother is in a house, a mother knows kikombe ya wageni ni gani, kijiko ya wageni ni gani, knows everything in the house. If the mother leaves you with a father, things kind of fall apart, because father ajui what is what. Everything will be used. Yeah, he's just one of the kids.
Lakini sisi tunataka kikombe ya wageni, hata sisi ni watoto wa watu.
Ati nini?
Tunataka kutumia kikombe ya wageni.
Okay, ngoja acha nimalize point yangu hapa Gerald. So my point here is you as a man, you tumewapea chance in our country, and you munageukana wenyewe, as you see how it played out between UK and Ruto. It played out bad, how it has played out between Baba and UK in the past, how it's playing out with Baba and Wajakoya and Ruto right now. Hata Wajakoya tusimweke kwa equation, he's new in this, so we're talking of old politics. So mumecheza sana, we've given you chances, and nothing is changing. I'm hoping and I'm praying to God, and I'm crossing my finger that since Baba has fought for this country for many years without any gain, amesafa sana, maybe he does have a message for the country. Maybe Baba is the change we've been waiting for. And now ukiongeza mama juu sasa, me I'm speaking here as a lay person. Ukiongeza mama now, the house is going to be organized. Okay. I have a lot of faith in Martha. She's no nonsense. She reminds me of me sometimes. And I have a lot of faith in her that she's going to hold it all together and run the show. This idea of saying that Baba is old, no. Baba is there. Baba has the ideologies. Martha is going to execute them, and it's going to be beautiful. Kenya is coming back again, and trust me on this. So the people who are voting, tafadhali fikiria the role of your mother in the house, and think twice when you're going to vote in the ballot.
Asante. Thank you so much, Doro. I'm seeing Areba Samba as well is online. We are 4 minutes past time. So Areba, very quickly. Areba Samba, karibu. Naweke video tafadhali. You want to see your face?
Probably I'm in makeup, huh?
Tutakuweka filters hapa. Hey, na umepaka makeup kabisa.
Good morning, Gerald.
Good morning to you, boy.
How are you?
These girls will think you always look like this every day. Okay, proceed. And he has disappeared.
Filters.
No sooner he appeared than he disappeared. All right.
But I was listening to Doro, and there's something I think I need to respond to. When we are looking at Martha, we cannot look at her with the prism of our mothers. she's coming in to be a deputy president. We have to look at her through the prism of leadership.
Okay.
And this discussion of trying to reduce Martha's candidature simply to an engendered debate, in my opinion, is not doing her the credit. She was not selected because she's a woman. She was selected because she's a capable leader. And it's one of those things that I think even on the campaign trail, you will see she insists on saying it's Baba na Martha. She herself, this man of Baba na Mama, she does not really... because this is not a marriage. And if we've seen anything with Uhuru and Ruto, you can have a deputy who's completely hamstrung and is unable to do anything, even while in office. So Martha has to play her cards very carefully if she's going to retain any influence in the Raila Odinga government, because we have been shown that it is possible to sideline your deputy for 5 years. So as much as we have plenty of hope in this particular ticket, and now I'm talking for Azimio people like Fred here. As much as you have a lot of hope in Ms. Martha, the reality of the fact is it is Raila Odinga on the ticket. And we have to look at it through the paradigm of leadership. If the two do not gel, because the two have come together in this marriage of convenience for expediency for elections, they have to find a formula that works. Because if we have a president and a deputy who have acrimony, as we have seen with Uhuru and Ruto, then we'll be in for another 5 years of, another like a daisical performance by an otherwise fairly bright ticket. But because I believe in Kenya Kwanza, I don't see that as a possibility, but just manage your expectations, that's all I'm saying.
We are alive to those facts.
Let's listen to this guy. Before you go. Good morning.
Amerudi.
Bunga la mwenye good morning.
Good morning, Gerald B.
Mambo vipi?
Poa sana, huyu ni Rono Kevin.
Leta habari baba.
Niko poa, tuko sawa, nilikimbia nyumbani.
Liko fiti.
So show iko poa.
Asante.
Na debate ya jana ilikuwa sawa. So interviewers lazima waangalie maswali ambazo wanaziuliza.
Okay.
Alafu kila mtu alikuwa anajibu kulingana na expectation ya supporters wao. So ukijaribu kuangalia the side ya Martha Karua Maasimio, they were more of walikuwa defensive sana, kwa sababu maswali zikidirectiwa inabidi Martha aende defense, defend Uhuru na defend Raila.
Okay.
In the other hand, kuna kitu moja hapo kwa corruption. Unajua William Ruto ashabrandiwa like ni mtu corrupt. So even if tukijaribu kuelezewa about issue ya corruption, I make sense kwa Wakenya wengi, kwa sababu already mtu mmoja ashabrandiwa ni mwizi.
Okay.
Ama ni corrupt, ama anybody supporting Ruto is corrupt. So instead the game tu ilikuwa mkiongelea corruption you are against William. Lakini in real sense hata leo tukisema tuongelee corruption, ukienda Kiambu, uende Mombasa, uende wapi, uulize mtoto mdogo, who is corrupt in Kenya, ama nani amebrandiwa kwa corrupt, unapata wanasema ni William. So I make sense. Instead tu wacha ikifika serikali yenye itaingia, waona avenues zenye wataengage
kumaliza visadi,
ilo wa fight corruption, kwa sababu corruption ni kitu iko tu around, si ati ni kitu ni speculations in everywhere. So what I believe in is that Ruto is going to be the president.
Okay.
Na iwapo baba atashinda, they are all ours. We'll just accept and we move on with life.
Thank you.
But we want this election to be free, fair, credible and accountable elections. Otherwise Kenya will be a peaceful nation. Siasa itakuja na itaenda.
Asante ndugu yangu.
Na hapo lazima itaendelea.
Haya, that is
siasa itakuja. Na wish the best Azimio. Na hao watu wish kama Kenya Kwanza the best, but we are the best team to win. We're gonna sort their problems out. Ruto is the real deal.
Haya, may the best win. Alright. Azameza may the best win. Tuingie kwa tackle of the day. Okangore, what's your tackle of the day?
Asante sana. This is our country. We all love it. We have no any other country other than Kenya. And therefore, the leadership that we are going to put in place must be a leadership that must be ready to be accountable must be a leadership that is ready to serve, must be a leadership that is ready to soil their hands and deliver for the people of Kenya. That leadership must have an agenda with opportunities and commitments that will ensure that all this happen. We strongly believe that that leadership will be the leadership of Raila Amolo Odinga and Martha Karua and the team. While people say that politics is a very serious game, it is never that serious. It is only serious game when you have serious people that would want to make it serious for their own benefit. But for the people who have gone out and relaxed and want to make it serious for Kenyans, will treat it as any other venture that is for the benefit of the majority, not minority. I want to take this opportunity to ask Kenyans, with these few days remaining, Gerald, let's all practice tolerance. Let's all cheer our respective formations with decorum and respect. And let's all go out, campaign, and let everyone not sleep with the vote. Get out, go and vote. Even if you vote for your candidate and does not win, you shall have practiced your civic duty and you shall have felt in your heart that at least you did something. Go out and vote, but vote for Azimio.
Tackle of the day.
My tackle of the day is I have gone on record saying that Honorable Ruto hit the jackpot when he picked Rigathi Gachagua as his deputy. And in this particular instance, I'm glad that Kenyans were able to see a glimpse of what Honorable Ruto and the Kenya Kwanza team saw when they picked Rigathi as the running mate. Ultimately, we have to remember that this is not just a game of politics, this is our lives. And when you're having somebody in the steering wheel, it is important to have someone who has a handle on reality. My biggest disappointment with Kenyan politicians is that they actively insulate themselves from the consequences of their decisions. They make decisions that drive up our cost of living while they themselves earn hefty salaries. They make decisions that cause traffic on our roads while they themselves have traffic cleared for them so they don't feel it. And I think it is time for us to have leaders who have walked a mile in our shoe, who have felt our pain, who have seen our anguish, not by observing, but by going through it themselves. And that is part of the reason why I think a Kenya Kwanza ticket for me speaks to me as a Mkenya wa kawaida. But be that as it may, I joined Fred in reminding Kenyans that wanasiasa walizaliwa na mama moja. They choose sides when they are... Yes, they choose sides when they're competing for office. But in terms of... There's some basic characteristics that are found in all of them that are not found in the rest of us Kenyans. For example, insisting on being called waheshimiwa even when they cannot be heshimiwad. We have to come to a place as Kenyans, we also have a reality check on the expectations that we place on our leaders. And not just that, to become the generation that will hold our leaders more to account. Long gone are the days when it was tingisha kidole nione, tingisha nione. It was unwavering support regardless of whatever. In this day and age, you can question your leader. You can pin them down. You can put them to the record. And not just the top leaders, from your MCA, from your MP, your local governor. They have gotten away with too much for too long. So my tackle for the day is you do your part. It is them asking for a job. Whoever passes the interview, when they start working, apewe kazi na tumfanyishe kazi. Maneno ya kusema watu ni waheshimiwa tubembeleze. I hope Kenyans are going to break out of that. So it doesn't matter who takes a seat from MCA level to national level. Always learn to hold your leaders to account and to demand for more. Because quite frankly, we pay them. We pay them too damn well for us to be disappointed by some lackluster performances. So let's also change.
Ngereza tupo lackluster.
Tulilipua school fees bwana. Tunatumia school fees.
It's been a pleasure having you. As usual, remind you, I mean, this is an electoral process, and 9 August we'll have a new government, we'll have a new president. And you said, someone has said it here, I think it's Okango, said that the people who are running are Kenyans. And I'm pretty sure, I can guarantee you that on 9 August we'll have a new president, it will be a Kenyan. And so far, the people I've seen running, they are human beings. They don't have tails, they don't have horns, they don't have whatever. I mean, they don't have 15 legs, the human beings, and they're Kenyans. They've been here with us, and they've given us their plan. You make a decision for whatever reason that you want to make it. If you don't care about the manifesto, maybe voting for them because maybe they're handsome or they have beautiful running mates, or all these other reasons that you can see. But some are gonna dimples. Nimesikia wengine wanasema Nairobi wanasema wako na dimples. Yeah, whatever reason that you can see to vote, just make your decision, vote and go home. Don't force us to love the dimples, or don't force us to love things that you love about the other person. Vote and go home, so ensure that we can have a peaceful electoral process. And on the 10th of August, we shall wake up to do what we do every day. Okango will wake up and go to do what he does. Joy will wake up and afanya mimi ndarudi nikuja hapa tupige story ya new government, tuseme venye wameomba deni in the first 50 days. Mambo kama hayo. And life will go on. This thing will continue. So ensure that we have a peaceful process that ensures that every Kenyan is guaranteed of a peaceful coexistence. Your neighbor still remain your neighbor on tent. So hii kitu bana, kama Mada Govina alisema, hapana weka kwa roho, weka kwa mabavu, kipumua inatoka. Until tomorrow, the diaspora edition will be said by usual by the diasporans akiongezwa na chairman Joel Harama. Until then, take care and see you. This is the Tackle and it ends now. Bye bye.